All right, guys, we're going to be looking at systems of linear equations and mixtures. So let's get started. How many gallons of solution A that is 75% alcohol and how many gallons of solution B that is 50% alcohol will be needed to be mixed in order to make a 4-gallon mixture that is 65% alcohol? All right, so whenever we do these types of problems, I like to start with a picture. And that's where we're going to start today. So let's go ahead. I'm going to make a container. Okay, and we're going to have solution A. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to make a different container. Maybe it's a different size, larger, smaller. It doesn't make a difference. We've got B. And then we are going to end up with another container that is definitely larger than both of them combined because we are adding them together. And we will call this maybe solution C. Now, there are some things that we know about this solution, and I'm going to go ahead and sketch those on there. Each one of them is some form of solution, okay? But the amount of alcohol in each one of them is a little bit different. So for example, solution A is 75% alcohol. Okay, so let's go ahead and write here, this is 75%. Okay, and then solution B is roughly 50%. Okay, and then what we're looking for is that solution C, or the final solution is going to be right at 65%. Okay, and for that alcohol. Okay, now the thing that we don't know is in the first one, we don't know how much of solution A there is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say solution A is going to be X gallons. And then what I'm going to say is, well, solution B, once again, we don't know how many gallons of solution B we're going to be putting in. So we're going to say maybe solution B is Y gallons. But what we do know is that in the end, we are going to make a mixture that is 4 gallons. Okay? And with this, we can actually create our first equation for this system of linear equations. We know that if we take A and we add it to B, we will end up with our final 4-gallon container, or C. So what I'm going to say is our first equation is X plus Y equals to 4. Okay. Now the next relationship that we have, and let me just go ahead and reiterate this. This is going to be X gallons, Y gallons, and that will leave us with 4 gallons. That's one way we know that we are doing this correctly. Now, our next equation that we're going to deal with has to deal with the amount of alcohol that is in each one of these containers. So, for example, if I was to look at the result, which is right here, the 4 gallons at 65%, I can easily figure out how much alcohol is in that 4 gallons. And how can I do that? The alcohol is just simply 65%, or 0.65 times 4. So when I set this up, I'm simply going to come over to DeSmos and I'm going to say, okay, well, what is 0.65 times 4? And that is 2.6. So I would say, okay, well, I know that there is 2.6 gallons of alcohol in this container. Well, that's exactly how we're going to find out the rest of them. Well, how did I do that? I took the percentage and I multiplied it by the amount that was total in that container. I'm going to do the exact same thing here. I'm going to take 0.5 and I'm going to multiply it by Y. I'm going to do the same thing, 0.75, and multiply it by X. And each one of those is going to tell us the alcohol. So what we do is we take the alcohol and we add the alcohol to get a total amount of 2.6 alcohol. And that is going to be our second equation, 0.75X plus 0.5Y equals to 2.6. And now what we've done is we've made this 0.75x, 0.5y equals to 2.6. That is the total amount of alcohol. Now, the easiest way, in my opinion, to solve this equation is now we're going to go ahead and use elimination. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And when we solve this for elimination, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the x's first. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply by negative 0.75 on both sides of this equation. So that gives me negative 0.75x, negative 0.75y, and that is because I'm going to distribute that in. And then I'm going to come over here. We're going to throw this in. We're going to take 4 times negative 0.75, which is really easy, but I'll type it in for you anyways. Negative 0.75 would give us negative 3, okay? And that is going to give us equal to negative 3. Now, at this point, I'm going to do the system of linear equations stuff, the elimination method. I'm going to add them together. They're going to cancel out. We're going to get negative 0.25y. And that is going to be 2.6 minus 3, which is going to be negative 0.4. Okay. And then, of course, in order to keep going further, let me just bring this up here so we have a little bit more space. I am going to take the negative 0.25 and divide by negative 0.25. Y comes out, and we know 2 negatives is going to make a positive. And then I'm going to come over here and let's just type it into Desmos, 0.4 divided by 0.25. And that is going to give us 1.6. Okay, so y equals to positive 1.6. Now, what is y? Y is the number of gallons of mixture B. So that tells us we need 1.6 gallons of mixture B or solution. Okay, well, how are we going to find out how many solution A there are or that we're going to need? We just simply take our easiest equation, which in my opinion is the x plus y equals 4, and I'm going to plug in the y value in for y. So 1.6 equals 4, and then we are going to subtract 1.6 over, and that is going to give us x equals 4 minus 1.6, which should give us 2.6. You can go check that on Desmos if you need to. Now, what does that tell us? Remember, 2.6x, that is gallons of solution A. So we're going to have 2.6 gallons of solution A. So if we take 1.6 gallons of solution B and 2.6 gallons of solution A, we will end up with 4 gallons that is at 65% alcohol.